This is the view from our kitchen windows, with the mill stream flowing under the bridges and down to meet the river at the other end of the garden. And as you come closer, you can now see the two big windows and the stable doors themselves that lead into the kitchen. And sitting outside them holding watch is our favourite West Highland, Mademoiselle Lolita Saltina Cradock, because she's not quite a lady, but we adore her. And so, welcome to our own kitchens at last, instead of studio ones in which we've cooked all these years. This kitchen, from the very beginning of its design, had a leitmotif or slogan. We are sick of cooking with our faces to the wall, so we've moved to the middle of the two rooms, now one, which make up our kitchen. Come and have a quick glimpse at some of the other we're not going to use. Cupboards, of course, masses of them. Spit, proper one, proper grill, proper oven built in the wall there, rather, and cupboards all the way along here, and here the juniors unit, only two of them here at the moment, young Pete, whom you all know. They have a cooker there where Sally is standing. She's a newcomer to us, but a very talented one. Teak underneath there, marble under here, and everything to strip away and slot out of the way when we don't want it. And then here, high-level grill, high-level grid, bread cutters, everything they can possibly want. Every cupboard contains only one item, so that they can't get themselves confused. Another grill here. Their cookers within fridges within nice, easy distance of them, so that they too don't walk all over the place. This is amusing. It's our old thing. Cost us £0.50 in Jersey about 20 years ago. One of my high bonnets, which I'm very proud. And of course cupboards, everything within reach, because we believe in saving every fraction of time and motion that we possibly can. Nice big area in the middle where we have table and meals when we want it. Build it up with a great shelf for buffet parties when we have lots of people to the house. And if you leave me now and have a quick glimpse over there, you will see some of the diplomas that Johnny and I have won, and under the copper lids which are hanging there, the last two that we won from France, which were both really rather a bit vain. So now, let's get on with the cooking. I'm starting the first of these informal parties for the cheese and wine party with something which either the French or the Belgians call Fondue frite. It's a form of hot cheese. I won't explain it first. I'll get something done and then I'll explain afterwards. It's not exactly extravagant. You use a pound of cooked sieved potatoes in what is called Duchess potato, which we've done together. It simply means that you rub all the spots through a sieve when they're steamed, and then you dry them out a little bit in a clean pan, and then, thank you, Peter, and then you add a little bit of egg and salt and pepper and butter, and that is a quarter of a pound of the absolutely essential Gruyere cheese. It must be Gruyere for this mixture. Then one ordinary standard egg, and that's it. Except for real salt, that's French cooking salt, gros sel, proper peppercorns, ground in a mill. Now, Pete, if you'll come and take those for me, I'll be glad, because you give me more space. Thank you, love. And you start with just the ordinary spatula, beating the mixture together. Now, these are going to be rolled into fat sausages, and you can see for yourself that is a very loose and flabby mixture, which won't respond very happily to being rolled into fat sausages. So I want you to watch this bit very, very carefully for me and see how it works. I use about that, which is approximately, so she's dropping it, well, a fraction under a quarter of an ounce. But as you will see, when it's all soft like this, you can only just shape it up into a rough amount ready to use later. So I put that very limp shape onto a dish with some flour in. Do one more. This time I'm going to lift it straight into the flour, sift the flour over. And now this is the part I want you to listen to, because these really are fabulous, not only for a cheese and wine party, but also for dinner parties and at supper dishes. But the trick is to use your fridge or your freezer. Now, Peter will take these for me, and we'll lose this in a moment, and I will explain while he's bringing the others out. I put some, because I wanted them in a hurry, into the freezer, reshaped them in flour, and did them again, which you obviously don't want to see twice. And then they come out looking like this. See? Shake off the surplus flour. When they're really hard, then you just ladle some raw beaten egg over them. I'll put two in and fry them straight away. I've got another lot at this moment, which we did literally 10 minutes ago. We finished 10 minutes ago. In the oven after frying, and in one of the ovens in this unit of mine, and you will see them when they come out. I'm going to bring the breadcrumbs towards me, that out of the way, and you can really get a clear view of what's happening. Up. Make certain that the tips are covered with egg too. Try to realize that that very soft, gooey mixture, which is all runny when it's been fried, has only the protective wall of the flour, egg, and fine breadcrumbs to stand between it and failure, which means the whole thing oozes out all over the pan. So now, that one's ready. Let's do the other one. Make sure the ends are covered. That's why I keep a spoon in here in case there are any gaps. And bury again. And then you fry in slightly smoking hot oil. Pat them again. And then turn them in. But this is not quite the end of the story. So while it's frying, I'll pick it up from the very beginning, tell you their origin, and we know where we are together. I should also have to clean my hands. Put them in. So, lower them into the slightly smoking hot oil, and now we can talk for a minute while they look after themselves. Fondue freight is in dispute as a matter of origin as to whether it is French or Belgian, but it is not, it's not a question of cheese when you use the word fondue. I do want to get this across to you. Fondue in classic cooking, all sorts of kind of vegetables by cooking them to a pulp and a little bit of butter. The actual cheese fondue, which is the great collection that come from the different cantons of Switzerland, I'm going to show you in the second program when Johnny comes in and does the wines with me, and we complete the first party together. These, when they come out of here from their frying, because they fry very quickly indeed, about a minute all told, will still not be fondued in the middle because they are a nice light golden brown on the outside long before they're gooey in the middle. This is rather good for the housewife, because how it works is this. She comes down when she's got her cheese and wine party, the cold things are on the table ready and the wines have all been get with. She's had her bath, her face is done, she's ready except putting her frock on, and she fries them. Then she puts them on a dish, as I have done in the oven, and she leaves them there for a quarter of an hour at gas mark a half, so that the fonduing finishes at that very low temperature, or for up to half an hour at gas mark a quarter. And then, when I take the ones out of the oven, which I shall be doing in a moment, I would expect, if I'm not failing, for them to be lovely and gooey in the middle. I don't think that one has burst. No, he hasn't, but there is a danger of these bursting. It's all right, I've got cast iron hands, as you probably realise by now. Lift him out. No, he hasn't. It's just some little bits of extra. Here we are, Peter. Now put those in to finish fonduing. Let me turn this gas up before we get blinded with smoke from the oil and have a look at the finished ones. There they are. Set them over there so that you can see. And let's pick one up at random, put it on here, take a sharp knife, right through the middle, and you see how that all oozes out and becomes gooey and sticky. That's the only way that they're worth eating. And I'm getting signals to tell me I should go on to the next dish, so we shall move on. But before we do so, we must just finish our dish if we're going to have a look at it later with a few sprigs of parsley, and we'll catch up time when we move on. The next thing I want to introduce you to began, it's the reversal of the usual classic way, began as a peasant dish in northern Italy, on the frontiers between France and Italy, you know, in Provence, and then was taken hold of by a very clever French woman who had a very smart restaurant down there, a Madame Baudouin, who is quite an old lady now, but still there, and she transformed it into a very elegant dish. It is the only cold omelette of France, and the only French omelette which in fact is actually baked. So now let me put those over there for one of the children to take and clear for me, and we'll start it together. We begin with 6 eggs. Now don't go and have a fit when I tell you omelette there has 6 eggs, because in the slices that you serve as an hors d'oeuvre or as part of a buffet, a cheese and wine party, you can get 20 out. It comes out of the oven looking like a hard cheese. It cuts like a gâteau, and I think it's absolutely super. When you've got your eggs in, just beat them up lightly as you would for an omelette. Don't bash them about until they're bandy, you know, or tickle them with overbeating. And then gradually beat in 4 ounces of, this time, the hard, classic Parmesan cheese. Add to that 4 ounces, well 3 to 4 ounces actually, of spinach, which you've cooked dry, of course, because you know you never use anything just wash it and put it in the pan. And finally, 4 ounces of white meat. Now, the classic one that Madame Baudoin advocates is veal, which I'm breaking up with my fingers now. But I have found that it's perfectly successful when you do it with a bit of chicken, veal, that is the classic one, lamb, pork, all the white meats. However, I'm sticking to the golden rules made by the old lady when she adopted this. In the origin, the French peasants used to have their wives make it with lashings of garlic in, it's been dropped altogether, which I'm sure you won't mind about. And then they used to take it and eat it between slices of bread with something called blaya. Now, I said spinach just now, but it's a first cousin of spinach. And the original name was torte di blaya because it was done with these long, long leaves of the spinach family with a great deal of white flesh as thick as a piece of rhubarb running down the centre. And the highly careful housewives use those white stems for a vegetable at night and put the spinach leaves in with any old odd bit of raw meat. A very strange character, because the Italians use some strange things for meat, as you may know, to give them with their bread and their wine for them to eat in the fields or the vineyards during the day. And then, as I say, Madame Baudoin made the thing plus raffiné, more elegant, for her very elegant restaurant. Now, while we've been talking, that's a lot. We now have, I'll give those over there and take this here, the container. You can use an ordinary meat baking tin if you want to. I've got here just an earthenware container as the outer one, and into that I put a pint of cold water. It can be warm if you like, it doesn't really matter. And then you scrape the whole of that mixture into your soufflé mould, cover it with a bit of foil or a lid, whichever you like. You can use any straight-sided container, but remember it must be straight-sided because you turn it out. When it looks like cheese, as I said, tastes like a gâteau and cuts in slices for eating, not only for hors d'oeuvre, there we go, or for a cheese party, but also for the thing I use it for most of all, picnics. There goes the foil, and into another of my ovens, because I've got 4 of them here, and we cover them and uncover them as we want them and have proper working surfaces when we don't want them. So this will go in now on the middle shelf at gas mark 4, and there it will cook for 1 1/4 hours. Now, it's important to remember that when it's cooked, it comes out of the oven, it is in fact left until it's cold before you turn it out. This is really vital. I'm just putting my things away. You do see, don't you, why I'm so thrilled, even at this early stage of my kitchen. I think it's the absolute reduction ad absurdum of time and motion. For instance, when I want salt and pepper from here, or when I want my cold omelette vert, I don't move a step, or to put things into the sink, or indeed to go to any of these cupboards, you see? Just here, the whole thing and no movement. I'm not too keen, thank you, Sally dear, on overworking myself. There's plenty to do without doing that. And so now I've got it here, the cold one, contracted in its container. And unless I'm going to look a perfect goat, all I've got to do is to turn it out, put it back on the table, lift it off, and there it is. I'm going to show it to you first before I put it in. Do you see how you get this lovely yellow cap of the actual egg, and then all your green and your meat and stuff on the sides, and you simply put it into the middle of your salads, and thereby concealing any little bits of that base that I turned it on. And there is your torte di blaya omelette vert or green cold omelette baked in the oven. We'll meet it again later, because in the meantime now I want to show you something, well, really rather ridiculous, but you know, I always have little bits of gimmicks, and I always feel that when women are their own cook hostesses, they need to have little reserves of emergency stuff tucked away, which they can call on in moments of crisis. Say you've forgotten to do one more dish, and you really feel a bit guilty about it because you think there's not quite enough for everyone. Get yourself a piece, the size of the part of the amount you use, a piece of Lancashire cheese, which is English, a piece of Howler cheese. Now, I don't think the lid's off yet, I'm just going to tell you. And then slice them up into little pots like these. In about half an hour, at gas mark a half, or 3/4 of an hour at most, they fondue themselves. And all you have to do, may we have some bread, please, Peter? All you have to do is to have bread or biscuits. Look at this lovely glue. Thank you, my dear. Now, leave that a moment, darling. This is one of our labour-saving things. You see, 6 cupboards, 4 cookers. Cupboard on either side, saucepans on their rails, sort of coat rail things which we pull out, everything to hand. I'm just getting lazy at my old age. And now look, just take it, pile it onto your pieces of bread, or dip the bread in if you want to, and you have a fausse fondue or phony fondue, which tastes super. I've got no time to eat it now, so I'll leave that to meet again and take you back again here to what is last, but by no means least. Can I have some? Oh, I'll use this one. No means least. And it's called Crème de Camembert or Camembert Cream. Once again, it's not difficult. Look, here is one which I've taken out of its classic box. And what you must do before you begin is to scrape off the chalk. Well, knowing that this takes rather a long time, I've only left one corner here which isn't scraped off. And then the rest is ready for me to do. Now, this you do 24 hours before you're going to make it. You put it, oh, I won't put it in there. Yes, I will. You put it into a container like this. And if you look, I'm going to put mine in there. If you look, you will see that here, I've got the one I put in 24 hours ago, practically on the point of collapse. I'm going to take it out. Because it's been sitting for those 24 hours in a covering, just a mean covering of inexpensive dry white wine. But being me, as you know my children say about my French heart, closer than a dead heat, I don't throw the wine away. I keep it in a bottle with a cork on it, and I've got another one to do. In this case, straight away. Pour the same wine over it, works perfectly for the next one, so why waste another lot of wine? Steep it in the wine. Cut it up roughly with a knife. Add to it 4 ounces of butter. So, softened, if you're not going to work for hours, so I hope this is. Bring that in a bit, and then beat it up, so you have another moment of noise, and I won't talk over it when it's going fast. That'll do me. Now I can turn it down sufficiently for it to beat for a moment longer and we can actually talk. You do that until it's creamed. Now there are 2 forms of presentation. One, which is very slow in comparison to the other, but very much nicer. It's the picture that's on our jacket, and I'm going to show it to you finished when I go over to the table where the display is. Normally I clean the beaters. I'm getting short of time, so I'm going to be extravagant with them. Now, when you haven't got time to make it into this cake shape, which does take a long time to shape up perfectly, and then to cover with ground almonds, you see I've got some here, and then to decorate with pretzels, the salted ones, which are in front of me as I work now, as you can see on the table. Then just dump it in the middle of the dish, take a fork, and pull it up into a rough peak on your dish. Instead, bring it up as high as you can. I want another thing here to get this right up for it. That's better. Otherwise it's out of proportion to the dish. Neaten it off, still a bit of a peak. Give it a bit more height with the pretzel on the top. Think of the fact that you're short of time. You should have your frock on by now. The guests will be here. We all get these little dramas, so it's no use pretending we don't. Run the pretzels round the edge, and Bob's your uncle, and you can serve that instead of a rather more elegant one, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So that's the fake one of the emergency one. Let's go and have a look what we've done and see the one I prepared classically. Now, starting from over here, as you will doubtless recognize after this long time, there is your Green Omelette. Perfect for a picnic, ideal for some of the wines which Johnny will suggest. Next week I'm going to do the Fondue à la Fribourg, the classic cheese one, and he will work through with each dish and explain to us how we should serve what. Then the 2 fausse fondue, or naughty ones, you know, just melted cheese, the Lancashire in this one, the English and the Dutch Gouda in that one. Then the fondue frites, which are just as gooey now, if not a shade more so than they were when we were dealing with them. And these, if you're having them for a supper dish, you'd serve 2, or for a cheese course before the pudding, or for main course, then 1. Or you can make smaller ones for your cheese and wine party if you prefer. And here the little quick emergency version of the cheese, Camembert cheese cream. And this one, the classic one, which we've shown you on the cover of the booklet with all the recipes in, with the pretzels all the way around the edge, the pear meeting in the center, and the ground almonds covering the neat gâteau shape. Next week I have the classic fondue to do and the equally classic cheese board, and then Johnny will talk to us and I will ask him questions for you on all the different wines of modest price which he suggests. His team well with our food suggestions. It's been lovely being back with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll have the pleasure of having you with me again next week.